had ice, we've had snow. Now it's the turn of dry asphalt. Welcome to the French island of Corsica and round 3 of the World Rally Championship. Held in recent years towards the end of the season, this year's rally has moved up the calendar, and so the weather may be even more of a factor than usual. Nestling in the Mediterranean, Corsica is actually closer to Italy than France and is much smaller than its southern neighbour, Sardinia. The rally is based in the island's capital, Ajaccio, with the 3 legs to the east, north and south of the city. This is how the Drivers' World Championship looks after the Swedish rally. Marcus Grönholm has a 2-point advantage over Tommy Mäkinen, with just 5 points separating third-placed Carlos Sainz from Richard Burns in 7th. In the Manufacturers Series, reigning champions Peugeot already have a 4-point lead over Ford, while Skoda are the only team yet to score. 5 stages made up the rally's opening day. A relatively short pair to start with, then stage 3, the longest of the entire rally, followed by a repeat of the earlier pair. As championship leader, Marcus Grönholm was the first to tackle the 17.5 kilometres of stage 1. Third fastest on the stage, the unblinking Grönholm's only anxious moment came when he felt something on cutting a corner. An inspection after the stage revealed no serious damage, and only a little time was lost. Like Grönholm, Mäkinen's never won this event, but unlike his compatriot, Mäkinen has won on tarmac, and so was confident he could do well in Corsica. Stage 1, though, also caused concern for the 4-time world champion, but the reason was very unusual. The stage was 200 metres longer than it had been last October, and Tommy had simply forgotten to make pace notes for the final couple of corners. Confusion in the car soon went, and only a few seconds were lost, but Mäkinen was less than pleased at his mistake. Carlos Sainz's problems happened at the opposite end of the stage. The gearbox, which thought it had selected first gear when it hadn't, was the cause of the delayed start. Again, the fault didn't lose much time, but co-driver Luis Moya was quickly on the radio to arrange a replacement.
Acaba con una pasoga corta, frenando para derecha calenta. Abrirse 1, derecha rápida, ojo, para izquierda para más en quinta, de poco, para derecha rápida menos, para izquierda para más corta en quinta, abrirse 1, cambia asfalto, izquierda acá, para 1 corto, derecha acá no corto.
Despite the hiccup at the start, Sainz was still quicker than teammate Colin McRae. The 2 Fords, however, were around 15 seconds off the pace of the stage winner, and so the team continued to pray for rain. Burns was 4th fastest on the stage. The thousands of twists and turns made Corsica a co-driver's nightmare. Just listen to the machine gun pace note delivery of Robert Reed.
Medium right, 60 K right and K right in line. 20 flat left, 20 medium right, tightens maybe 20, slow K left, tightens maybe in, line maybe 20, K right long. 30 braking, slow K left and K left minus tightens, 10 slow K right in long, to medium left, to fast left 10.
3 of the top 4 times on stage 1 were set by Peugeot drivers. The odd man out was Subaru's Petter Solberg. Team orders had forced him to drop from 4th to 5th on last year's event, so the Norwegian was out to prove a point and flew through the stage, losing less than 4 seconds to the only man who went quicker.
Line into 2, right minus, tighten short, 1 plus, unseen, 40, damp, 6 left, opens, 40, don't cut, 1 left plus.
That man, as almost everyone had predicted, was Gilles Panizzi, co-driven by his brother Hervé, who gave a demonstration of just how to drive these treacherous mountain roads.
Sur droite 90 plus pas court, gauche 90 court, droite 90, pour gauche à fond, 40 mètres attention, gauche 85 long, 50 mètres épingle droite, pour gauche à fond long, 80 mètres, droite ferme 95 de long, entrée humide. 50 mètres.
After a superb drive in Sweden, Francois Duval's Corsican weekend took a little while to get going. That stall cost around 10 seconds, and the young Belgian must have been glad to reach the first corner and get away from the cameras. Schwarz headed the Hyundai Challenge, but debutant Thomas Couhard retired his accident brakes after his throttle jammed open, while the expected charge from Philippe Bugalski failed to materialise after he was slowed by the loose gravel thrown onto the road by earlier cars. So this was how things stood after stage one. Panizzi the early leader, with Solberg preventing an all-Peugeot top three. Mäkinen was ahead of the unlucky Sainz, while Colin McRae led the pack chasing the top six. First to 12th were already covered by over 26 seconds, and another 15 stages remained. The next of those, repeated at the end of the day, was the stage which saw Tommi Mäkinen's accident last October. Zooming in, thanks to Virtual Spectator, you can imagine the risks faced by the drivers as they tackle the ribbon of tarmac which snakes up the mountain. For safety reasons, this year the stage only runs as far as the village of Tolla, before the scene of Mäkinen's accident. This horrific scene could so easily have been far worse, but as it is, Tommy's regular co-driver Risto Männisen-Mäki still isn't ready to return to the championship. In addition to shortening the stage, the organisers have also used water-filled barriers this year in an attempt to make the event safer. You'd have thought those events would have played on Mäkinen's mind, but as he starts the stage, it seems he's still annoyed at his mistake at the end of stage one. Fifth fastest, Mäkinen and Lindstrom were also still fifth overall. Grönholm's Peugeot was over 8 seconds quicker than the Subaru, Grönholm missing out on setting the fastest time by only 0.3 of a second. The second fastest time meant that Grönholm and co-driver Timo Raitiainen had moved up into second place. Carlos Sainz and Luis Moya saw no repeat of their mystery gearbox fault, but this time the pair clipped something at the side of the road which punctured a tyre and cost them about 10 seconds. Richard Burns was again fourth fastest and arrived at the end of the relatively short stage with his brakes smoking.
50, easy right, braking long 10, medium left plus tight, maybe a medium left plus 70.
Petter Solberg had doubts about his tyre choice, commenting that the road was quite slippery. The Impreza was third fastest and dropped to third place on the leaderboard behind Grönholm.
One right plus, opens 30. Short 3 left, into 6 right plus, 40, flat 6 left, 36 right, 40 line into 2 left plus and gap, tightens minus, and short 5 right, 40, half 2 left, keep in, 30.
Once again it was Gilles Panizzi who was quickest on the stage. With still no sign of the predicted threat from Bugalski, the Peugeot driver's only competition, it seemed, came from his teammates and Solberg.
Droite à fond, gauche sans long. 60 mètres, gauche 95 long plus.
2 stages into the rally, and Panizzi's lead was now a little over 5 seconds.
Droite 95. 60 mètres, gauche 95 un peu long.
Mitsubishi hadn't expected to be on the pace, they weren't wrong. Delacour was 9th, but felt that the car felt much better than it had been on round 1 in Monte Carlo. Another team who weren't expecting to be on the podium was Skoda. Sure enough, their challenge was led by Tony Gardemeister, who was a lowly 17th. Stage 2 might have only been 11.5 kilometres long, but it gives us a perfect chance to show you something you'd never normally see. Imagine that 4 drivers, Panizzi, Grönholm, Solberg and Mäkinen, started the stage together. Thanks to GPS tracking and data from the cars, we can see that 9 kilometres through the stage, they'd have been spread out like this. The first 3 are fairly evenly separated, but Mäkinen is already a long way back compared to his colleague, who's right up there with the 2 Peugeots. That's what losing just 6 seconds looks like. It was very nearly a case of business as usual, with all 3 Peugeots in the top 5 stage times. Grönholm was 4th fastest. lost a little under a second to the charging Solberg, but was still in second place.
Oikein hidas. Kolme ja vasen nopea. Oikein eri soppuun.
Mäkinen was 6th quickest, and again faster than Sainz to consolidate his 5th place.
Helppo oikee miinus aukee, 6, pirun pitkä kovasen miinus, pikkupoppu alussa kapea silta, älä oikase. Plus 7, suoralla vähän kosteita ja vähän kosteen pitkä vasen nopee. Ja tosi pitkä K-oikee miinus aukee vähän lopussa, 3, pitkä K-oikee plus 1.
Sainz and Moyer lost a further 8 seconds to Mäkinen and Lindström when they again clipped something hidden in the grass and ruined another tyre.
Derecha, oiga. Derecha, izquierda, rápido, con izquierda, 10. Derecha, campo contra la izquierda, mucho. Para uno corto, frenando. Izquierda, buena señal y no cortar. Para derecha, caneta corta, ras. Para izquierda, casi tierra poco. Para derecha, que corta en cuarta, se abre. Acaba buena más.
The 3 silver Peugeots might have been dominating the leaderboard, but a blue one was just outside the top 10. Harry Rovanperä drives the 3rd works car on gravel events, but runs in a semi-official 206 on tarmac, another Finn who's more at home on loose surfaces. Richard Burns also prefers gravel, but the world champion is quite happy on asphalt. 5th fastest on stage 3, he was still 4th overall, taking another 3.5 seconds off the chasing Mäkinen.
Medium right 50, medium right plus in 80.
But for the 3rd stage in a row, it was Burns' French teammate who set the fastest time.
Gauche sans bref, dans droite 95 plus. Ouvre 40 mètres comme 90 plus. 10 plus 50 mètres.
Gilles Panizzi's lead was now up to 13.5 seconds. The long stage, though, took its toll on several cars. Kenneth Eriksson's Skoda was among those which suffered from excessive tyre wear. His co-driver, Tina Turner, cheerfully passing on the news to the team in a way only she could get away with.
Tack. Super 1 for Tina. We are clear of stage. Our tyres are...
Peugeot didn't have things all their own way either. Bugalski had finally woken up, it seemed. His Citroën was 2nd fastest and had moved up into 7th place. So after 3 of the day's 5 stages, Panizzi, Grönholm, Solberg and Burns were still very much in command of the rally. But just 2.5 seconds off Sainz's 6th place was Bugalski. Marco Martin was now ahead of Colin McRae, while Delacour had dropped to 10th. Grönholm went with exactly the same choice as the morning. They obviously worked. The Finn was 3rd fastest.
Oikein pitkä hidas.
This time, however, the 2000 world champion was slower than the man who took his crown last year, Richard Burns.
Fast left plus down maybe to fast left hook, slippy, tightens maybe 20, crest 20.
Burns and Robert Reid were 2nd quickest, only 1/10 of a second up on their colleagues.
In long, there to key left tight slippy maybe, and key left in. 60, easy right, to easy right in, to flat right 50, flat left.
A little of the pressure would be taken off the Peugeots on stage 4 when Petter Solberg became the latest in a long line of drivers to discover that Corsica punishes even the smallest of errors.
Opens 40. Ready. Okay, get a turn round.
Co-driver Phil Mills reminds Solberg to turn around, but otherwise the incident barely gets a mention.
Tightens 1+ of a junction.
The missing front bumper will be replaced at service, but the rear bodywork is rubbing on a tyre, and so the duo will need to make some running repairs at the end of the stage if they're to avoid losing yet more time. Watched, but of course not helped by the local fire crew, Solberg gets the job done, but doesn't even have time to tell us what happened before heading off to stage 5. No such worries for the Panizzi brothers. They were fastest yet again, their 4th stage win in a row, stretching their lead to over 16 seconds. Causing more than a few raised eyebrows, meanwhile, was Francois Duval. On only his second rally in a focused WRC and his first on asphalt, he was 7th fastest on stage 4, beating Marco Martin in an identical car. Stage 5 was a repeat of the second, but by now conditions were very different to those of the morning. For the first time all day, the fastest time was set by a driver other than Gilles Panizzi. It was, though, another Peugeot, that of Marcus Grönholm, which took the honours. With the rain came the expected change of fortunes for Ford. Sainz was second fastest, just 2.1 seconds down on Grönholm.
Derecha buena más en quinta, poco atrás de izquierda y no cortar. Frenando para izquierda buena en tercera, poco atrás de izquierda y sabe por dentro fin. Para derecha buena más ojo corta de tierra, abrirse.
Once he'd actually started the stage, Colin McRae also enjoyed the wet conditions. He and co-driver Nicky Grist were 5th quickest.
Straight 70.
Panizzi could only manage the 12th fastest time, losing 13.3 seconds of his lead, and so undoing most of the good work he'd done on the 4 dry stages.
100 mètres. Gauche ferme 90 long.
Burns also suffered, 11th quickest, but a second faster than Panizzi. It would still be an all-Peugeot top 3 at the end of the day, but the advantage wouldn't be as commanding as they'd hoped.
Fast right minus 30, fast left minus middle 20, medium left plus 30, flat right 40, crest 30, easy right plus.
If Francois Duval had enjoyed the dry 4th stage, he must have been in heaven in the rain. An incredible 3rd fastest, beating McRae in the process. Duval had shown that Ford's confidence in him had been justified and that his is a name to watch in the future. But Ford weren't the only ones to be grateful for the rain. Hyundai's new Accent WRC 3 had a steady first day, but Armin Schwarz rounded it off by setting the 4th fastest time on stage 5, even though both he and Freddie Loix were well outside the top 10. So Panizzi leads Grönholm by exactly 3 seconds tonight, with Burns a further 22 behind. Mäkinen, Sainz and Solberg round off the top 6, while Philippe Bugalski will start day 2 in a threatening 8th place. With more rain forecast, the rally's longest day is set to be a thriller. 7 stages made up day 2, with a repeat of the rally's longest to start. A batch of 3 shorter stages would then be repeated, a total of 150 kilometres in all. The weather, though, would be the day's main talking point. The clouds covering the mountaintops certainly looked as though the predicted rain wasn't far away. The top 15 A-seeded drivers run in reverse order on days 2 and 3 this year, so Hyundai's Armin Schwarz was one of the first to find out just how slippery the damp tarmac was. Kenneth Eriksson and co-driver Tina Turner also fell foul of the same corner. Ford's 21-year-old Belgian sensation Francois Duval showed his materials just how it should be done. His was the fastest of all 4 Ford Focuses, 5th on stage 6 and by now 10th overall. Philippe Bugalski's position on the road on day 1, plus an exhaust problem, meant that his Citroën was well over a minute down on Peugeot to Panizzi at Grönholm. He was 4th fastest on stage 6, however, so his charge up the leaderboard was underway. The tyres to have, it quickly became clear, were intermediates, not the cut slicks that McRae had chosen. 10th fastest on the stage, McRae and co-driver Nicky Grist had taken advantage of the rain and dropped a place to 8th. Petter Solberg's tyre choice, on the other hand, was perfect. He was fastest, his achievement accompanied by the rhythmic voice of Phil Mills.
4 right, opens 50, 5 left, 40, 4 right minus half long, tightens 3, slippy maybe, opens 60, slippy braking, 6 right plus of a bump 30, 1 left plus, slippy, half long, opens 30, 4 right plus, opens 50, half 3 right plus, tightens, into 3 left plus, opens 40, line into half 4 right, 60, slippy maybe 3 right plus, opens long, keep in, 30 slippy entry, 1 left plus fast.
Solberg was particularly pleased to win the long stage 6, even if he seemed a little surprised at the finish.
It's very good, no problem at all. Just very slippery sometimes. Correct tire choice. Okay, yeah.
Carlos Sainz, 9th fastest, dropped from 5th to 6th behind Solberg, thanks to his decision to take a slick tyre on the stage.
Para izquierda rápido José Estarras, con fe, para 1, derecha buena más, ras, sucia, para 1, izquierda buena más, poco tarde, acaba caliente de tierra, abrirse 1.
Tommy Mäkinen, like his teammate, had also opted for intermediates and also took over 30 seconds off Sainz. The Subaru 1-2 also meant that Peugeot no longer held all 3 of the podium positions.
Oikee aukee, heti jatkuu oikee 4, huomio pitkäkö oikee miinus, tiukka suppu, 4, serpo vasen.
Richard Burns was another who was kicking himself for that late change of heart. 7th quickest, he and co-driver Robert Reid dropped from 3rd to 4th on the leaderboard.
20 left minus low to Caleb, 50 medium right plus, Titan, sorry, medium right minus Titan maybe, 20.
Marcus Grönholm and Timo Rautiainen fared a little better, but not much. The pair were only 6th fastest.
8, oikee eri sumppuun, oikee täys ja vasen täys, 8, vasen hidas silta.
Best of the Peugeots was Gilles Panizzi, 3rd behind the 2 Subarus.
50 mètres. Droite à fond bref.
Despite being slowed at the end of the stage by a tyre which was almost off the wheel rim, Panizzi's lead was now back up to over 13 seconds once again. Gilles' 2 biggest fans, his wife and daughter, were at the end of the stage to wave their encouragement. So, for the first time, the Peugeot drivers didn't have things their own way. Mäkinen was now up to 3rd and Solberg up to 5th after stage 6. Behind the point-scoring places, Philippe Bugalski was now 7th, ahead of the Ford trio of McRae, Marco Martin and Francois Duval. The surface was indeed damp to humid, but the rain hadn't stopped. Freddie Loix was the quicker of the 2 remaining Hyundai drivers, 8th fastest, but still 16th overall. Colin McRae fared much better on stage 7, 2nd fastest, and must have been cursing his earlier tyre decision. Still 8th, the Focus was now exactly 10 seconds behind Bugalski's Citroën Zara.
6 left over crest, 150. 6 right and 6 right, tightens to long 4 plus.
This time it was Solberg's turn to choose the wrong tyre. Only 9th fastest thanks to 2 softer rubber compound. He must have hoped they would work on the next pair of stages which followed.
Line into short 4 right plus, opens 40, tighten short 3, don't cut. Keep straight over 60, 6 right into flat 5 left, slippy maybe, 80, short 5 right, open 60.
Carlos Sainz took a gamble on slick tyres and that looked to have cost precious seconds. 7th fastest on the stage, Bugalski was now just over 4 seconds
Para derecha acá se cierra poco, para izquierda acá en cuarta, poco tarde se cierra Rasfin, para derecha buena más corta, 1.
The majority of drivers had opted for intermediate tyres. They'd worked brilliantly for Mäkinen on the previous stage, and he went with a similar choice for this one.
Nyppy ja oikee, sumppu heti oikasen vasen urassa, 10 huomio, pirun pitkä oikee nopea kirraa pahasti. Lyhyt, helppo oikee plus 4.
On this occasion, however, all 3 Peugeots and McRae's Ford went faster than the Subaru. Richard Burns took over a 2.5 seconds off Mäkinen through the 10-kilometre stage, moving to within 7.5 seconds of retaking 3rd place.
50 flat left in and flat left.
Marcus Grumholm was just half a second quicker than his still learning new teammate. But more importantly, the Peugeot domination of the rally looked to be back on track after losing its way a little in the rain of the day's opening stage. Normal service had indeed resumed. Fastest on the stage was the 2:06 of Gilles and Hervé Panizzi, the pair setting their 5th fastest time from 7 stages.
Sur droite 95. Dans gauche, droite 95. Donc gauche à fond pleine corde. Droite 95 de long.
Stage 8 would be rerun later in the day as Stage 11. The 18 kilometres of snaking tarmac started in the village of Vero. The first 7 kilometres or so climbed to around 900 metres above sea level at the stage's highest point, before the gradual descent into the valley on the other side and the stage finish in Pont d'Azzana. Low cloud meant visibility at the summit was down to around 30 metres. For the second stage in a row, the 4 drivers took full advantage of the conditions. Colin McRae, 4th fastest.
And long 3 right plus, and 3 left tightens over narrow bridge. 30, right keep out, and 3 right plus. And 6 left tightens.
But again, the 2 Subarus were lagged down by the tyre choice. Peter Solberg only 9th quickest. Carlos Sainz at Luis Moya was 2nd fastest.
Para izquierda rápido, ojo, se cierra poco. Para derecha rápido, ojo, corta de tierra. Acaba derecha, derecha, posición cuarta de tierra y se abre, abrirse.
The Spaniards were now less than 10 seconds behind Solberg and looked set to snatch his 5th place on the next stage. Tommy Mäkinen and Kai Lindstrom looked to have been quick off the start line, but they quickly began to lose time soon afterwards. We'll be looking in greater detail at the start in a minute or so.
Pitkä helppo oikee, 7, pitkä serpo vasen, kirraa ihan vähän. Ja pitkä oikee miinus tiukka.
100 fast left for showing the fast left
video from Richard Burns' car away from the start. Though the Englishman was only 3rd fastest on the stage, again, all will be explained.
Right max to flat right 70, K left long, 10K left minus. To slow K left 20, medium right.
For the second stage in a row, it was Burns' teammate Gilles Panizzi who was fastest, extending his lead to over 26 seconds.
Droite 95 long long. Gauche 90 long. 60 mètres. Droite ferme 90. À la maison. Bon, gauche à fond. Dans droite 95 presque plus. Gauche 95 long soulage. Sur droite 95 long soulage.
This is where the virtual spectator system really comes into its own. If we look at the first 45 seconds or so of Stage 8 and compare the performances of 4 cars off the start line, we can see exactly where drivers make up, or more importantly, lose time. Our 4 drivers in this case are Panizzi, Burns, Sainz and Mäkinen, and up to the first hairpin there's nothing to separate the 4, but just look at the blue car. Mäkinen hasn't got the same amount of grip as the others and starts to lag behind. Accelerating away, they're again hard to split, but the same thing happens again away from this long open hairpin, and again on the 90-degree left-hander which follows. Burns is actually the quickest over the opening kilometre, with Panizzi just ahead of Sainz and Mäkinen already starting to drop back. Stage 9 was the 3rd and final stage in the batch of 3, so the Subarus would soon be able to change their tyres. Grip, however, wasn't the cause of the problem for Freddie Loix in the Hyundai. Stalling the accent cost precious seconds, but Loix was languishing down in 15th place in any case. Solberg's rally, meanwhile, was about to go from bad to worse.
Opens to 40, line into 3 left minus, tightens half long, and line into 2 right plus half long. No, puncture. Tightens slippy, gravel, 1 plus.
Puncture meant Petter was only 13th fastest and dropped to 7th place behind Bugalski as a result.
Line into 4 left long, tightens slippy, 2 extra long.
Mäkinen again lost time to the Peugeots and Fords, and like his colleague, had also dropped a place on the leaderboard. The four-time world champion was now fourth. After gaining around 23 seconds from Richard Burns on the day's opening stage, Mäkinen had lost 21 on the next three, and so was now right back where he'd started. To Burns' delight, it was the number 1 Peugeot which set the fastest time on stage 9, his first stage win for his new team.
And easy left, 20 flat right cut to flat left opens 40, slightly braking 60, fast left minus long, and fast left 50, fast left plus 30 braking medium left, plus 20 braking medium right plus, and medium right minus in, 20 fast left, 10 medium right plus cut sand, 60 left max, 60 braking, slight left 50, flat left 60, medium left plus, and medium left plus long to flat left 20, medium right, tightens in, 10 medium left plus, 20 medium right long to easy left, opens 40, K right plus and K right, 40, flat left, braking and flat left, 40, medium left.
The look on the driver's face suggests he couldn't have gone much quicker, even if he wanted to. Nearly 4 seconds slower than Burns was Pinici, complaining that he'd had brake problems for the last 10 kilometres, while Grönholm had driven cautiously and was only 6th fastest. No matter, it was an all-Peugeot top 3 once again. Schwarz saw no repeat of his earlier spin. In fact, his Hyundai was 5th fastest on stage 10. By now sporting a new set of tyres, Solberg stormed through the stage, setting the quickest time, his second stage win of the day. But the news wasn't all good for Subaru. On the same tyres as Solberg, Mäkinen should have been equally as quick. He was, up to a point.
Pitkä vasen nopea miinus. Heti. Lyhyt oikea nopea aukee heti. Ja oikea 3 pitkä vasen nopea. Ja oikea täys 3. Spoori pitkä oikea eri 3. Tarkasti spoori pirun pitkä K oikea. Vähän helppo sumppu. 7.
Caught out by excess water on the road, this was Mäkinen's second retirement in as many rallies. And so to the day's last pair of stages. After only being 14th quickest on 10, the changing conditions meant Colin McRae was second fastest on both stages 11 and 12. Solberg, however, wouldn't be so fortunate. Another puncture on stage 12 cost the Norwegian around 30 seconds.
120. Line into 4 right plus, tightens over bridge. Into 5 left minus extra long. Opens. And line into don't cut 4 right.
Day 2 ended in the same way as day 1. A Peugeot 1-2-3. Burns' stage win wasn't repeated, but he'll start the final day in 3rd place. No stage wins today for Marcus Grönholm, but he's happy enough tonight, 2nd place behind Panizzi. The Frenchman was fastest on both the last 2 stages, and so returned to Ajaccio with a lead of over 41 seconds. 4 more stages are now all that stand between Panizzi and his 2nd win here in 3 years. This is how the leaderboard stands after 12 of the event's 16 stages. Peugeot are poised to pick up the maximum 16 manufacturer points. Just over 20 seconds separate 4th, 5th and 6th places, while Solberg will start the final day determined to take some points home from Corsica. The final day consisted of just 2 stages to the south of Ajaccio, which would be repeated, giving a total of exactly 112 kilometres. Much to Ford's disappointment, the weather was forecast to improve once again. Thanks to Virtual Spectator, we can take an overview of stage 13, the day's first. Hairpin bends are very much a feature of the first part of the stage, which climbs to a high of around 500 metres above sea level, before a much more open, flowing section down to the finish, where another series of hairpins provide something of a sting in the tail. The 24 kilometres will take the cruise around 15 minutes to complete. run almost within sight of Ajaccio, the stage was basking in the morning sunshine. With the top 15 run in reverse order, Harrier of Ampera enjoyed a clean road. 9th fastest, Finn moved up a place to 14th overall, a little over 6 minutes down on his colleagues in the silver Peugeots. Francois Duval resumes his attempt to win the Junior World Championship at the next round in Spain, but he was an impressive 10th place in Corsica. The dry roads meant Peter Solberg had high hopes of catching the two Fords ahead of him. His day didn't begin well, however. Both Sainz and McRae were quicker than the Impreza on stage 13.
Para derecha acá,
Carlos
frenando para
Sainz and
izquierda,
co-driver
menos
Luis
como de
Moya were
tierra.
equal third fastest, but were concerned that their tyres had worn more than they'd expected and hoped they'd hold out for the next stage.
Para izquierda rápida, menos se cierra a fondo. Derecha, izquierda, buena más ojo, sucia, se cierra mucho y mucho ras. Para uno corto. Derecha acá, se cierra poco y ras.
Colin McRae was a man on a mission.
50, K6 right into 1 right. Into 6 left, 70, K6 right and left and 4 right minus. Into 6 left and 5 right plus and 5 left plus and long 6 right.
Bogowski, however, was equally as determined.
Can you keep Colin McRae behind you?
Yes, I drive faster.
The damp first half of the stage, however, saw the Zara struggle for grip. It wasn't until the drier downhill section that Bogowski felt confident, but by then the damage had been done. McRae set the fastest time, with Bogowski only 12th quickest, and so the Ford driver had snatched 4th place away from the Citroën. With a gap of just under a minute from 4th to 3rd, McRae was unlikely to worry Richard Burns and co-driver Robert Reed.
Slight right, braking 30, flat left in 20, fast right minus and medium right plus in. 30, flat left to easy right plus cut. 20 flat left, 50, right max, 60 slight left into slight right and slight right braking 70, easy left to fast left plus cut. 40, flat right, 70, easy left 20, easy left in 30, braking slow medium right in and slow medium right to flat left 100.
Burns, in fact, was second fastest, while his teammate Marcus Kronholm was 5th. It made little difference to the leaderboard, though. The pair were still nearly 17 seconds apart.
Oikea laita vasen eri sumppuun. Ja oikein jouhee. Vasen täys ja oikea laita vasen pyöreä kirraa. Oikein helppo ylinypyyn 210.
Gilles and Hervé Panizzi were 7th quickest, but their lead was still over 41 seconds, and so they were now just 3 stages away from victory. Less fortunate was Kenneth Eriksson, who was the slowest of the 3 Skoda drivers through stage 13 after his Octavia picked up a puncture. Let's take a look at the middle kilometre or so of the stage through the eyes of the virtual spectator. Even halfway through the stage, McRae has already opened up a gap from his teammate Sainz. The pair's Pirelli tyres benefiting from the damp uphill climb, but the best was yet to come from both Solberg and Burns. Both obviously enjoyed the drier downhill second half of the stage. Solberg made up that gap to Sainz, and the pair ended up on exactly the same time, while Burns did even better. You can see just how far behind the Peugeot driver is, but his Michelins helped him to catch and pass both Solberg and Sainz to set the second fastest stage time, just 4.3 seconds slower than McRae. Bravery obviously also came into play on the long descent. All the drivers hit around 180 kilometres an hour. On to stage 14, which for Kenneth Eriksson lasted around 70 metres. Tina Turner is quickly out of the car to investigate, but her hand signals are clear. The car isn't going any further. But Eriksson wasn't the only casualty of stage 14. Francois Duval's superb drive ended in a tree around 15 kilometres into the stage. A cruel end to such a mature drive by the 21-year-old. Petter Solberg's up and down rally continued with 5th fastest time, slower than Sainz but quicker than McRae. Still 7th, Solberg knew that the point-scoring 6th place was now only a tantalising 5.2 seconds away.
20 short 2 right. And line into 3 left tightens, minus of a crest, into short 2 right plus, opens, and 6 left into 4 right minus, open.
Sainz though had no intention of giving up that 6th place without a fight.
2, derecha frenando, derecha 40 terceras de tierra, para izquierda rápido ojos de tierra a fondo, para derecha rápida menos largas de tierra a fondo, para izquierda rápido ojos extra de tierra abajo y mucho ras, asar. Derecha rápida menos corta, 1, izquierda buena más ojos de tierra, sasar mucho.
The afternoon promised drier roads, and that wasn't good news. Colin McRae was in a similar position, but he was trying to stay ahead of 5th place Bugalski.
And 4 left. 120. Careful, 6 right tightens to 5 minus. And slow 4 left tightens. And 6 right, and right tightens to 5 plus cut, into left tightens to 3 plus.
Bugalski though took nearly 10 seconds back from McRae on stage 14. This it seemed would be a fight to the finish. Richard Burns and Robert Reed set the fastest time on the stage.
Right plus, 50, easy right long, 70, medium left minus to medium left minus in, 80, medium right to key right in, 40, flat left, 100 is in, 80, medium right to key right in, 40.
Marcus Gronholm was second quickest, just 2.6 seconds slower than his teammate. The gap between the pair was still 14 seconds, so had Burns left his charge too late, and would the Peugeot management call an end to their battle to reduce the risk of either crashing out?
Vase täys, 120. Oikeri helppo. 5 vaseri tiukka leikkaa.
All that mattered little to Panizzi, counting down the kilometres left for what surely must be his first win of the season.
Droite à fond, soulage. 100 mètres. Gauche 95. Je l'aimais plus jamais ce bonhomme. Gauche 95. 60 mètres. Gauche 95, presque plus.
Just 2 stages now remained. Panizzi's lead was still over 31 seconds. Gronholm and Burns continued to scrap for second, but still on course for a Peugeot podium, while 4th to 7th were still only around 20 seconds apart. Anything could still happen before the finish. Francois Delacour was by now in 8th place, poised to score a manufacturer's point should anyone ahead of him falter. That was what Petter Solberg also needed. 7th place was good for the team, but he wanted a single driver's point at least. But equal 3rd quickest on the stage when Solberg and Phil Mills at last moved into a point-scoring
6
position.
left plus, opens caution slow, 60, open hairpin left. Half long, opens flat. 6 right plus.
Para izquierda rápida más.
Sainz and Moya were only 6th fastest, which meant the Subaru pair had moved ahead of the Ford duo by just 0.8 of a second. The last stage promised fireworks. In the circumstances, the last thing Sainz needed at this point was for the team to point out exactly what was happening. Colin McRae and Nicky Grist were locked in their own battle with Philippe Bugalski. A little over 3 kilometres into the stage, that battle ended abruptly.
Left plus tightens cut ruts. and 3 right. 30, hairpin right. You okay?
Grist's concern for his colleague is a reminder of the pair's accident on the island 18 months ago, when he was forced to watch helplessly as McRae was cut out of the car after being trapped upside down for around 45 minutes. There were no such worries this time, with a paramedic swiftly on hand to check on the pair. McRae, though, had suffered an injury to his hand and had mild concussion, and so was airlifted to hospital as a precaution. The stage stopped to allow the rescue services to attend the accident.
Just been speaking to Nicky. Basically, there's like a third gear left-hand corner into a right-hand corner which had some mud on it, and they got around the left-hander, turned into the right, and basically had understeered off the road, and then took a very heavy impact.
Bugalski completed the stage unaware of the fact that McRae had been injured. Fourth place was now a little more secure, but there was no realistic chance of catching the trio ahead.
Right plus in, to easy left plus 60, slipping maybe medium left minus gravel, in low, 20 medium right.
Burns was slowed by spectators as he passed the scene of McRae's crash. Fifth quickest, 1.3 seconds slower than Grunho. It looked to be a tall order to make up over 15 seconds on the last stage. Grunholm showed that he was far from beaten by setting the quickest time on the stage. Just the last test now remained.
Saattaa oikein nopea suppuun ja vasen hidas paskaa.
Finizzi was held on the start line to allow the medical teams into the stage. When it was then cancelled, he drove through at slow speed, unaware of what the organisers would do about his time, but like all the drivers, concerned that the injured McRae would be okay.
Nicky, Collins ended up in Ajaccio Hospital. What happened?
Thoughts of 2000 for a second there. As it happened ever so quickly. I mean, there was nothing. I could hear Colin just say, like, oh, you know, like we'd lost grip. And then the next minute there was impact. I mean, there was nothing else to do. You know, Colin's gone to hospital now to be checked out. And, you know, it looks like maybe a cut and broken finger, probably at worst, I hope.
What went through your mind when it happened? Is it, here we go again, Corsica?
No, I mean, I obviously can't really remember exactly what happened, but you know, it was definitely not coming back on, and it was after the car stopped I realised it was, you know, it was quite a severe impact because the roll cage was in against my leg. So the biggest worry was just to get out of the car and make sure everything was okay.
What is it about you and Corsica?
I don't know. It all flashed back there. I thought not again, but you know, you've got to accept these things happen. Unfortunately, generally on tarmac, there's absolutely no room for error. And I think now with the double usage of stages, it obviously makes it, you know, the risk of getting caught out in these places a lot more.
At the start line of the final stage, the drivers were in high spirits.
Wait for a helicopter.
Okay, this is top secret. Okay.
News had obviously spread that McRae would be okay.
You're Richard Burns. We are going into the last stage now soon, so what is your expectation?
Sorry, I can't understand what you're saying.
McRae's retirement, Bugalski ineligible for manufacturing points, Peugeot's able to score, meant that 8th place Marco Martin was able to score a single point for Ford. Francois Delacour also scored his first points for Mitsubishi, while the team was also encouraged by the development work they've been able to do. Solberg finished 5th, content with his performance, but well aware that he'd have been a contender for a podium place, had luck been a little kinder to him. Sixth quickest on the last stage, but again slower than Solberg. Sainz would have to settle for 6th place, and the one driver's point abroad. Fastest on the last stage, Bugalski's privately entered Citroën was 4th. Again, luck hadn't smiled on the Frenchman very often over the weekend, but he was pleased with the preparations for his next event in Spain in 2 weeks' time. Peugeot, however, never really looked like scoring anything other than a clean sweep of the top 3 places. The first time that's been done since the Rally of Great Britain in 1995. On that occasion, Subaru finished 1-2-3, with the young Richard Burns in 3rd place. That's where he finished in Corsica 2, his best ever result on the island. This was also Marcus Grunholm's best finish on tarmac. The team's split time confirmed he was on the pace, but that hardly mattered. 2nd place meant Grunholm was happy enough.
Vasen eri ja oikein eri. 7 oikein. Nopea suppuun.
Do you think she'll still be able to beat you, or do you know yet?
No, I think Gilles is faster, and it's normal that he's going to win.
Uncertainty over the times from stage 15 was finally resolved. Panizzi would receive the same time as Grönholm, so started the final stage with a lead of 31 seconds. Every rattle, every squeak from the car set Panizzi's nerves on edge, but everything worked perfectly. Their boss was about to become a very happy man. Panizzi's winning margin in the end was over 40 seconds, with Grönholm and Burns completing Peugeot's perfect day. Bugalski, Solberg and Sainz rounded off the top 6, while both Mitsubishis and Freddie Loitz's Hyundai were among the chasing pack. Grönholm has now opened up an 8-point lead over the other two event winners, Mäkinen and Panizzi. The consistent Sainz is 4th, with Burns moving up into 5th place, while in the series for manufacturers, Peugeot have a huge advantage over Ford and Subaru.